Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is a show we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. We are running a little earlier today because in Utah, this is another fireworks holiday. So during our normal recording, it sounds like they're taking back the planet. I am Wild Chevy, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
I'm going to be better in just a few hours as I'm blowing up parts of my neighborhood.
Nice. All on the legal level, right?
Oh, of course. Of course. Completely legal. So, how are you doing this evening, Alan?
You know what? Last week was our convention, and I was running wild. That's why we didn't have a show last week. This week, I've been running wild again, putting everything back together.
Well, So we're going to talk tonight about the Salt City Gladiator games, guys, and that's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time. But real quick, have you done anything in hobby the last few weeks?
My last few weeks has just been getting ready for our tabletop convention. I've been making awards, trophies. You guys saw me doing that the last episode. As far as painting, I tried to do some painting at the convention on this commission piece here. Didn't really get very far on that because when you're sitting at a concession stand, everybody wants food. But I did pick up a few things. I did get the new Bashi bazooks for my Hakazam from Corvus Belly. So I'm looking forward to putting those guys together and throwing them on the table. I also there was a laser cutter at our convention, and I picked up some order tokens, special cut order tokens for on the cheap. It was great.
Yeah, he had some really. Do you have any that you could show?
I'd have to dig them out. Like I said, everything went back in the cases, and I'm like, all right, where does everything need to go? Let's put everything back where it needs to go. I'll sort it out later when I start playing again. But that was me, crazy as can be. How about you?
So in the last couple of weeks, I mean, we'll talk about gladiator games and everything associated with that. So I finished up painting a model for that. We'll talk about the painting on a little bit. I played some games. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But non-gladiator games wise, I got rid of some stuff. You know, I've been just kind of cleaning out the closet of a few things that I really wasn't ever going to get to. So clean that out. Also, as part of that, I started building my little.
Ooh, your left bots.
Yeah, my rebots. So we'll just show you a picture here. These are. That's what they're going to look like when they're all done and painted up. So
those are older sculpts, right?
Yeah, you know, I think that they're pretty sharp, but they are definitely older sculpts. So, and the models kind of showed that off as I was putting them together. So, handsome, just a lot of extra work that had to go into them to make everything fit and line up and work out. So, but it was kind of fun. I also picked up some airbrush paints. You know, we got a dark orange, a light orange, and then a yellowish orange.
From what company?
This is Vallejo Game Air.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to airbrush paints. You know, I think the Mediterranean stuff is nice. The Vallejo stuff is nice. I've used Cratex stuff, which is nice. So I like it all. But these weren't particularly the colors that I was looking for. And I was at a non-local game store yesterday, and they had like the whole Game Air line. So I was like, I'm not going to pass up this opportunity.
Was that why you were looking for the purple turtle?
Right next to the purple turtle.
Ah,
So
yeah, I love going to that shop. There's several shops in Utah that have all the paints. And I'm like, oh, if you guys weren't an hour drive, it'd be great.
I know I was just like, I told the guy, I'm like, you have the most amazing shop. I just can't drive an hour and a half to get here every week. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on. So these guys, I'm gonna have fun with these guys. Maybe a little bit later this evening, I'll whip out the airbrush and I'll start working on them a little bit. But the my plan is I want to use some ghost tints on them. So I want to try and keep a lot of this black. So I'll put on kind of some gray highlights, and then after that, uh, and try like some little OSLs, and then hit it with like a purple something to kind of make like the eyes and the little lights. See if I can make them glow, because I think that ghost tint over the black with the lights should work out really nice for it. What are you working on there, man?
Robin from Night Miniatures.
Okay. So, well, should we get into it?
Yeah. So last week was the third annual Salt City Gladiator Games. I'm one of the main organizers, and Casey was one of our participants. So, from your standpoint as a participant, did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time with the event. Um, Alan, you and your crew, you put on a really nice show as always. Uh, it felt like it was bigger than in years previous, but I felt like everything ran really well. So it kind of, yeah, it was just kind of this nicely positioned. It was big enough that it felt big, but it wasn't so big that it felt unpersonal. If that makes sense.
And what games did you play?
I was there and I played Guild Ball. So
Nice.
I actually took a lot of flack from some of the Infinity crew because they were really wanting me to play Infinity, mostly because I think they were looking for an easy win. But yeah, I had three of my buddies. They all said we want to play Guild Ball. We're going to knock out this tournament in a day. And you know what? We had a really good time doing it. So I ended up we played 3 rounds of Guild Ball. Just kind of the regular rules. We weren't doing any like big league or anything like that. So third round, I found myself at the top table because I went 2-0. Unfortunately, I did lose my last game. So I was somewhere in the neighborhood between second and third. It wasn't one of those things where I could say like, oh, he cheated or my dice screwed me over or his dice were amazing. It was just the guy plain old beat me. So, which, is kind of okay. I'm not sitting around having to skulk about it. So it's kind of nice when you have no one to blame but your opponent just being better. So, well, you want to tell us about some of the other events that we had there?
So we had 40K, which got to grand tournament status. So we had I think 30 players playing in our 40K tournament, which was pretty impressive. So it was first year for us being at GT status. So anybody who was doing the ITC rankings got extra points. And then we had Malifaux, we had War Machine, the Mark III stuff. We had real impressive numbers for Infinity. We had, I think, 20 people playing.
Yeah, that was enough to qualify it as a satellite for next year.
Yeah, we're going to be a Rumble, a Royal Rumble, the Rumble 66, and possibly others. So we're our Utah meta is growing. We are becoming known and better, bigger and better. And yeah, 4 day, 3.5 day event. A lot of people had fun. A lot of people want us to keep going. Um, and our painting competition turned out really well too.
Yeah, it was really well populated painting competition. I think so. You had a number of categories. You had your like the small single figure, a medium, and then a large, and then they also had a group category as well.
Yeah, and you can always tell it was how impressive the painting competition is by how stressed the judges are.
Yeah, boy, they took a long time on that decision just because, and it's easy to see why. Uh, the competition is called the Salty Dwarf, and this is the fourth year of having it.
Well, this is I think the fifth or sixth year. It's been running for a while, and but we've taken it over for our event.
Yeah, and so it attracts painters of from several states away.
Yeah, for Infinity, we had um, a Texan and an Arizona guy come out specifically for this event, and then we had a few other out of state folks from Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho. So, I mean, really, uh, really says the caliber when we get some mm, some people from out of state coming to play and to be in the painting competition.
Yeah, no, yeah, like you said, the Infinity competition was second to none. Um, I know that there's a few other events that might get a little more press. However, I think in terms of what Utah has going on, it has nothing to prove to anyone. This You can make an argument that this was one of the premier Infinity tournaments in the country.
Yeah, we had real nice tables. It was fun. A lot a lot went into bringing everything together, and uh, yeah, we really hope we can pull it off next year and get more people to show up.
Yeah. Um, so, what do you want to talk about first? We can talk about 40K a little bit. We can get into Infinity some. We can just go kind of a general
Yeah.
wrap up.
So we had some pretty high end tables for 40K. And if anybody out there is watching, I put the link down in the description notes. You can go to the Salt City Gladiator Games Facebook page and see all the photos in the albums. For 40K, we had, like I said, we had 30 players. We had some real nice tables donated to us to use from Battlehaven and the 40K Amateur Hour guys. We had like one table that was completely LED lit up. It was pretty cool. We had some tables donated, terrain donated to us from Sean Gately at Blue Table Painting. And yeah, it was a nice turnout. A lot of people, not a lot of Space Marines, which is odd.
Yeah. Like you said, all the tables were beautiful, each and every one of them. There was no bad table to play on, or at least we'll say no ugly table to play on.
No
Everybody has,
cupboards.
yeah.
That
It
was
was,
our goal. No cupboards.
and everything was painted and everything looked really great. So, but like you said, wasn't a whole lot of Space Marines, but we saw just about everything else there. Of course, Eldar were more than fairly represented, but the nice thing was you could tell there's a lot of people who were really bringing their personal armies. A lot of times you get to these things and you'll see some, they're all tabletop quality, but most of the armies there you could tell were people's personal favorite armies, just with the level of paint that had gone into them. So beautiful tables plus beautiful armies was made for a beautiful event.
So yeah, we had a lot of people enjoy that one. It spanned over 2 days, so made for tough competition. But like we had a lot of demos too. We saw a couple of people demoing. Um, not oh, it's one of the Spartan miniature games. Um, and then Age of Sigmar, saw a few demos of that. A lot of, I think that was the really cool thing was we had a lot of demo tables for people just to play. If you got bored, it was your own fault.
Yeah, there. The nice thing was everything was spread out just enough that you could kind of move around, and you had no problem getting to where you wanted to go and seeing what you wanted to see. And it seemed like everything was paced well enough that nobody was overly stressed. So you did have time to check things out if you wanted to. With Infinity, like you said, uh, we had a whole slew of people. Once again, all the terrain was beautiful. It was all painted. There was some amazing ones. We had a whole bug hunt corridor, which we've been playing locally, but this is the first time anybody's ever seen it all painted up.
Yeah, that was cool. Those guys did a real. It's always funny, like for me, I brought my MDF terrain. I've had it for 2 years, not even assembled. I'm like, no, what? Let's. I've got a deadline. I've got to get these boards out. Nothing like a nice, good deadline to put you into stress mode and bust out a whole bunch of painting for terrain.
Well, terrain painting is almost kind of fun because you could be a little sloppy with it. Uh, yeah, and then for Guild Ball, we had an amazing 8 people, so that was cool. We had a few people; it was actually their first time ever playing Guild Ball, so we hooked them up and took care of them. We had a lot of good War Machine guys there.
Yeah, like I even have a photo. There we go.
Yeah,
There-
that's most of us. They took us a little while afterwards, so a few people had left by then.
But hey, I mean it's a pretty happy looking Guild Ball group of guys.
You know what? That's one of the things I like about Guild Ball is you can play it and just have a good time and not feel too beat up afterwards. Handsome fellows too.
So yeah, those were. So how was your experience? You only went the one day, huh?
I just did the one day. Life kind of got in the way of this, so I was there for Saturday, and Saturday was great. It was well attended. Everything looked nice, so it's kind of nice to see everything up and swinging. So, yeah, I got there around 9 o'clock. I dropped off my painting submission, went over, just had time to kind of hang around and talk with people, and then got my games in and got out of there like around 7 o'clock in the evening. So it was a good 10 hours. We had a food truck out front, and yeah, so you didn't have to go far to get food, and just perfect. I couldn't have been happier.
You could bring food in from outside.
Yep, that was take that LVO.
Bally's, take that, Bally's.
Yeah, take that Bally's. Shouldn't say that. That's not recent Frankie's fault. Yeah, so it was good. Um, Painting wise, I'm kind of happy with how it all shook out.
Why is that?
So I did well. Um, you know, the single figure is always kind of like the premier event, wherever you go, or the single small. For whatever reason, that's just kind of where it's at.
Well, I mean, most people like painting at that level.
And I think it also showcases a lot of talent. Some of the bigger models, I'm not saying they're easier to paint, but there's just something about the small ones that just kind of just work best.
Sadly, I,
the most.
sadly, I was not able to enter.
Oh, thankfully you weren't able to enter. that was a problem. So I went up there and I'm like, okay, because you always have that thing where you're like, I don't know if this is all that good. But I feel it is, and you're really kind of nervous. And then as you're driving along, you're like, the judges are going to see this. They're going to recognize this because they're looking close and they're going to see all these things, And then you get there and you're so excited, and then you get in and you see everything in the case, and you're like, oh crap. Well, I'm screwed. You're like, that one's better, that one's better. You can do like a pretty quick cut. Like, I'm better than those guys, but those guys are way better. And I just saw like this whole slew. I was like, oh my gosh.
Those are all my miniatures.
Yeah, they were all yours and Randon's.
Just the people who are like, hey, we just to prove that we are capable of judging and whatnot, but not able to participate.
Well, like I said, thank goodness you're not able to. Otherwise, I would have been crushed. So I think we had 20 plus in the single, probably about a dozen or so in the medium size, half a dozen in the large, and then just a couple of team entries. And then we had the People's Choice Award. So I'll say I did well. I managed to pick up the silver in the single figure.
Nice.
I was quite happy with that. It was, like you said, it kind of came down to, I think, just 2 or 3 entries, that were all kind of vying for the top spot.
And for those of you wondering out there, I was not a judge, so I could not sway anybody to vote for Casey.
Yep. Said Alan was not a judge. While I did know the judges, they had no idea what I was entering in. Everything was anonymous, so everything was won and lost on their own merits. So, yeah, and the first place, I will give it to him. That was a beautiful model. I think there was a few things I did better. I think there's a few things he did better, and so I respect the judge's decision, but at the same time, I feel like I left nothing to prove.
Huh? We'll just have to get you painting for LVO.
Dang it, man! I'm just starting to think about it. So here, let me show you what I submitted. Now that we can kind of take the cover off of things. So this was a special edition miniature Achilles for Infinity. They came with 2. There's 2 versions. This is the kind of the standard gameplay version, and this was the special edition one. You can see I painted them fairly similarly. This one was a little more white than the other. The other one was kind of more gray. Just a few things. The face, well, it turned out fine. It wasn't as good as the other one was. I was a little frustrated by that.
Did I hear you were trying to pop his head off?
I totally was. Let me see. So you can see here the 2 models next to each other, and you can't see it very much, but the one on the right is definitely more white. But the face on the left one just turned out so well that I actually spent about 20 minutes trying to get that head off of that body. But anyways, so like I said, this one in a lot of ways was, I feel, superior to the first one. His sword turned out much nicer the second time around. The whites looked nicer, I feel. So overall, it was a nicer model, and the base was nicer as well. The first one just had that little piece of red stuff, whereas this one I kind of had the opportunity to spend a little more time on it, make it look a little nicer. Funny story. You can see on his hand here a little bit of OSL coming up off the blade, and that all started actually from just a bit of overspray. I had originally planned on getting rid of it and just painting over it, but when the time came, I started looking at it. I said, let's not waste that. Let's see if we can't turn it into something a little extra on the model.
As Bob Ross would say, a happy mistake.
It was a happy mistake. and you just kind of roll with it. Um, yeah. So all in all, like, I really love the model. I think it turned out well. You can see it right there a little better head on. Uh, what? Oh, allow me to have my moment of pride here because the first place model, like I said, was excellent. I have zero negative things to say about it, and he very fairly won. But afterwards, when we were all kind of standing around, I had a lot more people coming up asking me how I did things than he did. So pretty darn proud of that. It was mostly because I just nailed that white armor. Like, anybody who's tried to do white before knows that it is a pain in the butt.
It's hard to keep clean.
Yeah. And you know what? It just worked this time.
Here's what Casey was up against. Uh, Tariq Mansouri from Infinity. This is done by Ethan Pearsons, and the I mean, it's not the greatest photo, but it was a real top-notch looking miniature.
It
So
really was.
I mean, when you're facing that level of quality, I mean, kudos to Casey.
Yeah, I mean, second place is nothing to be ashamed of when you see the quality of everybody out there. Um, yeah, so it was a really good time. So, Alan, stepping back from it, from a managerial standpoint and kind of from a runner of it, what did you see? What did you like? How do you feel you improved over the last year?
Uh, uh, I was all the way at the front in the concession stand. I a lot of people were like, "Hey, why aren't you playing or anything like that?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I have to." As an organizer, you do have to kind of remove yourself away from the games, and not just. Just comes down to like you want everybody to have fun, and as an organizer, you're really not supposed to be playing with other people. Just in case it comes to rules calling or whatever, you want everybody to feel like their win was justified or their loss wasn't due to nepotism.
It's true.
So,
So,
so
sales
I
wise, how did we do?
we are still calculating the numbers, but as far as people, I mean, we had a a big turnout of folks. It was almost packed every day, and a lot of smiling faces. And that's what I was calculating was how many people were having fun, and it sounds like a lot of people enjoyed their time.
I'll be honest, man. I'm not saying this just because you're my friend, but I didn't see anyone who wasn't having a good time there. So I think if that's how you're judging it, then you did extremely well. Everything ran on time. Everything, at least from the player perspective, seemed to run smooth. Everything was handled professionally. So yeah, I I think we all had a great time, and we can't wait for next year.
And for anybody out there who wants to run their own convention, it is time con- it is time intensive. It is a lot of hard work. And if you ever go to a convention, shake the volunteers' hands because there's a lot of work going into it that you don't ever see.
True that. So, well, Alan, I hope you enjoy your well-deserved rest.
I hope you enjoy your well deserved win.
Well, I had to bring something home. Otherwise, I was up all night for nothing. Um,
So does this mean you'll start doing commissions and doing painting tutorials?
Well, it's not like I took first.
Oh,
Let's not get too crazy here. Um, I mean, if someone's ever interested in a commission, I'll happily talk to them about it. I don't usually advertise that as a service because I don't really think of myself as a professional like that. But, you know, 7-Eleven may not be doing business, but I'm always open. I don't know about doing any kind of tutorials. I felt like I talked a lot to people, and there's a lot of people who had questions about how things were doing. It was, and if we ever want to sit down and do some airbrushing, or kind of have like a group painting night, I'm more than happy to show what little bit I know. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm still just learning all of this stuff and just starting to pick things up.
yeah, and that yeah. Because for me, yeah, you learn a lot when you're teaching other people.
And it kind of helps reinforce things because you might know it in your head what you're wanting to do, but then you start getting lazy or you're a little sloppy. Whereas when the light's on you, you kind of stick to the rules and do what you know you're supposed to. So
And it's all about the color theory.
I'm proud of myself. I did well with that. Actually use that stuff. So, but no, it's true. Having the right colors is really critical. So, I'll tell you, I sent it to Angel Heraldez.
Ooh.
I was like, "Hey, Angel, check out what I did." And I showed him a couple of pictures, and he's like, "Dude, that looks amazing. Good job." And I was like, "I'm so special." Angel said, "Good job" to me.
Now, speaking of Haraldez, Lux Lumbra. It's a Facebook page. And from what I've been able to shake out of it's supported by Corvus Belly. It's got all the painters from Corvus Belly, so Daff and Angel. And from what I've been able to get from them, it's going to be a new company. It's going to be they're going to do bust, and I'm not sure if they're going to do like Infinity Bust or not, but they will have a Kickstarter coming out soon.
Great. Yeah, definitely something they were going to be doing, like bus and that sort of thing. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure there's a huge market for that, but it might just be like a little side boutique thing.
Well,
Because I believe Angel and Daft, like everybody is still staying in their current positions. This is just kind of a side gig that they're doing.
yeah, but you'd be surprised, like for bust, man, bust some of those busts that there are like really lovely looking, and a lot of high end painters. That's what they love to work in, just because the scale is a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a little bit more room, and I think skin tones is kind of where it's at in terms of what you can do. You know, but yeah. So we'll see. Best of luck to them. I'm still waiting for Volume 2 to come out. So excited.
Oh,
We should be hearing about that fairly soon.
yes, I don't know about you, but I really wish I was at Gen Con this year.
The games that they play with the people, like the Gen Con folks, it's kind of like the haves and the haves not. That ticks me off.
And yeah, I was a little miffed earlier this week when I started seeing all the Warcore folks were able to get Red Veil early.
Now that actually makes sense.
Well, yeah, but for us trying to do a review show, it's a little once we finally get the box, it's going to be a little bit late.
True. This is true. But I'm super excited for Red Veil. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to go quick and clean out all my backlog and get everything out of the way so I got nothing else on my plate and I can dive into it immediately.
So you can paint orange.
Yeah, man. I'm getting that orange stuff figured out. I might paint up some sprue or something here in the next day or two and start playing with some colors.
Work that ancient Chinese secrets.
Heck yeah, man. I made a mistake, and that mistake was I read the comments in Bell of Lost Souls, right? Because Kidney's personal style can be divisive. I love the guy; like he cracks me up. I think he's a genuinely nice guy, but and he's got a very specific style that he uses with his airbrush. It's actually similar to Angel's.
Yeah, it is on Hell's, but it's his own version of it.
Yeah, and so once you kind of like see what he's doing and deconstructing, you really understand how he works, and it's fine. And the majority of the time, he's showing how he paints off, does army size commissions. So it's not always, to the nth level. But he, and so people give him kind of a lot of crap. And I was just reading that, I was like, that sucks and that's stupid. This guy's really good at what he does. And the people who are tearing him down are not nearly as skilled as he is.
And I've seen people. We're talking about next level painting. The guy's really, really good painter. Does a lot of good. Format on his videos is a little goofy. And I think a lot of people just like to rag on him for his past mistakes. And I remember watching one video, and I'm like, I couldn't. It only took me like 2 minutes to just cancel out because there was 30 commercial breaks.
Yeah, you just kind of got to accept that you're getting it for free, right? If you're watching on YouTube, if you don't want commercials, you can pay for it. And so what he's putting out there is kind of out of the goodness of his heart. And on one hand, on the other hand, it's also to promote his business. So, and the guy is just trying to make a living in a very, very hard market to make a living.
But, I mean, like you said, he does a good job at what he does.
Yeah, and when you see him, really bring out the big guns and really step it up to the, no pun intended, the next level. He does just beautiful work. When he has the time and ability to. So, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I don't read comments on bowls anymore. It's just like the worst of the internet.
But speaking of massive armies and all that, I'm getting kind of the itch for Horus Heresy.
Yeah?
I hear the call to Death Guard, so...
I hear the call of Russ. Oh man, I want to do 30K so bad, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just not sure. Because what I'd love to do, right, is get maybe a couple of boxes of Betrayal of Calth, and then like a vehicle or two.
Well, you don't even have to get the Betrayal of Calth anymore. They're starting to sell all those miniatures in separate boxes now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's still a great deal. Betrayal of Calth is just a great deal and gives you a lot of models for not a lot of money.
And I just don't want to toss out all those gaming pieces.
Yeah, it's just going back to chain painting. And even though I tell myself I wouldn't really be chain, I take it to a higher level, it's still chain painting, and that just kind of kills your soul.
Mhm.
But I haven't played 40K in a year, maybe.
And I mean, we're even going down to LVO for Infinity.
I know. So it's like, I, I love 40K. I have nothing bad to say about it, other than I'm really not sure I want to paint a whole new army and that I'm not going to play a whole lot of. So, so we'll see. I go back and forth on that one almost on a daily basis because I paint a lot of Infinity now. But I'll be honest, I get tired of it sometimes. I could go for a different style. Be nice to work in plastic again.
Mhm.
So, but we'll see.
See if the call of the heresy gets to you.
Man.
And you know what? I mean, the whole Brexit thing, that the pound just keeps dropping.
Yeah, Forge Rules got a sale going on. Yeah, because I'd love to, pick up some upgrades. Maybe pick up a Fire Raptor and maybe a Spartan. But we'll see. We'll see. So, well, Alan, I think I need to keep this short here. I can hear my kids screaming outside.
Screaming for fire.
Yeah, time to go be dad.
All right, folks, that is it for us tonight. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Are you excited for Infinity? Or do you want to do Horus Heresy? Are you Did you go to the Salt City Gladiator games? Did you have fun? Let us know in the comments below. We'd really like to start a conversation with you guys. Um, that is all I have tonight. Casey, anything else?
No, just as always, uh, if there's anything you ever want us to talk about or would like us to take a look at, shoot us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. This has been the Atomic Salt, and Salt City blew our minds.
Good night, folks. See you next week.